JV said, Shotty has said multiple times that he likes big RBs and Davis is smaller. I mean, that may point to why. What's up, bros and besties? Are we live? Are we good? We got sound, we got video. I haven't had a chance to talk to y'all about the Cowboys game since I did the live stream, that win over the Chiefs. First of all, that live stream was so much fun. Shout out to everybody who showed up and who kept the chat fun. We had a good time talking about the game while it was on. But, normally on Tuesdays, I do my swipe rights for everybody who stood out. And so I'm planning on taking tomorrow off. So there'll be a replay of this tomorrow. But I was like, I can go ahead and do the swipe rights. I know it's been 4 days, but we're still going to go ahead and talk about who did a good job. And then we're going to get into the sound that's come from Schottenheimer and Eberflus and just talk about where it seems like their mind is in terms of where the team is going for the rest of the season. Because they had a few interesting things to say that I think will answer some questions that fans have had about just some of the things that we've seen from the defensive side of the ball, some of the things that have been on Schottenheimer's mind as far as like how the season is progressing, so on and so forth. So I've got notes here. I've got eyes everywhere. But we're going to start with these swipe rights. So I still don't have graphics for these, and I'm so sad because I'm working on graphics and they're going to be fun. But for right now, y'all just get to, once again, listen to my lovely voice. So first up, getting a swipe right is one Mr. George Pickens. And if you watch this game, you know absolutely why. So first of all, this man literally jumped over a whole ass human being for a few extra yards, just like he was hurdling furniture in his living room or something. So 6 catches, 88 yards. And apparently he thought Thanksgiving was a perfect time to practice hurdling people. But the real story here is what he did to Jalen Watson. So Watson pressed him on every target, which, okay, that's cute. But Pickens caught 5 of 7 for 85 yards on him alone. That's the most yards allowed by a Chiefs defender to one receiver since 2018. And that's not just winning matchups. That's literally you ruined that man's Thanksgiving. And then later in the game, Watson apparently was so stressed out, he committed pass interference late because we know that George Pickens knows how to draw those. And at that point, what else are you supposed to do? Prayer alone was not getting it done for him. So I guess he resorted to getting a little bit more physical, and that did not work out. And George Pickens on these slants, oh my God. 5 slant targets, 4 catches, 73 yards, the most by any receiver on slants in a single game this season. So when he breaks inside, he's sudden, he's strong, smooth at the same time. If you watch my reactions when we were watching him run routes, you know how I felt about George Pickens and his routes and his slants. I'm loving everything I'm seeing from him in this game. He earned himself a swipe right. Next up for the swipe rights, we've got CeeDee Lamb, of course, gets a swipe right for having a comeback game. This was a full-blown bounce-back performance by CeeDee Lamb. I loved it. So after the Eagles game, just catching everybody up, he had a lot of drops. It was definitely giving, I need to log out and reset. And that he did. And he came into this matchup ready to let everybody know that he is still him. And I love that for him. So for CeeDee Lamb, 7 catches on 9 targets for 112 yards and a touchdown. So that's how you're supposed to respond when everybody just spent a whole last week talking about your hands. But here's the part that really made the difference. It wasn't just the volume that he got, the catches and the yards. It was his actual impact on the game. So against Trent McDuffie, who is if we're being real, Trent McDuffie is not easy pickings. He's a legit technician, somebody you don't really easily get off against if you've been, watching him consistently. But CD caught 4 or 5 for 44 yards and a touchdown. Then he basically, wait, hold on. I'm reading my own notes. And then he got hit with a late game reminder with the deep shot for 51 yards. That was awesome. And then, here's what I really liked about what CD did. The DPIs, he had, that's in my other notes. I think it was 2 of them for 20 something yards, 2 for 23 yards. But what I liked about them was at least from my perspective, it looked like CD was intentional about drawing that contact. Because sometimes the contact just happens and receivers get lucky. But this was actually something we noticed with Pickens earlier in the season, was that he was able to really draw contact and make defenders regret getting physical with him. Because sometimes they get away with it, right? But when it comes to receivers, there are ways that they can position their bodies to make it a little bit more obvious and ensure that they get the DPI. And from where I was sitting, from the angle that I was looking at, it looked like that's what CD was doing. So that was really cool to watch, that not only did CD bounce back in terms of making the catches, but he was also making an impact in terms of just getting the yards when they were coming for free. And that's pretty dope, because my philosophy is, if a man is grabbing you like that, either y'all are dating or you're cooking him. So good job, CD. What else? So for CD, 4 of his catches, which was for 93 yards, and the touchdown, all came on throws that were 10 plus yards downfield and almost entirely against zone. So that means he wasn't just catching the ball, he was reading it, slicing it, exploiting it, all the things. And so this is what a wide receiver one looks like when he gets pissed off at his own performance and decides to fix it immediately. So this is a real redemption arc for him. So I love it. I hope it continues. Next swipe right goes to Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott was basically flirting with chaos all night. So they blitzed him a lot, but he threw for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. But the part that impressed me wasn't the box score. It was how he responded to them blitzing him. So they blitzed him apparently for 49% of his dropbacks, which is the highest blitz rate he's seen the entire season. And instead of panicking, Dak was just like, okay, so y'all want to dance, whatever. So against the blitz specifically, he went 15 of 19 for 190 yards, which is the 4th most yards he's ever had against extra rushers. He was pressured 12 times overall, including 7 pressures that came from the blitz looks. And he completed 10 of 12 passes under pressure for 108 yards with 2 touchdowns and just 1 interception, no sacks. So that's insane. Like, to sum that all up for anybody who doesn't necessarily like get the impact of those numbers, that's insane. That's bananas. So Dak was just like speed dating with the defensive lineman and still making plenty of awesome throws like it was nothing, you know? And so that's what happens when you have a grown man QB, you know, composed, on time, kept the offense functional, even when Chiefs were throwing all kinds of licks at him. So yeah, Mahomes' magic is cool, but I will take Dak's poise any night. Swipe right for him. Now we go to the other side of the ball. Swipe right goes to the entire Cowboys defensive scheme, because, oh my God, what we saw from the Cowboys defensively just had me with a smile on my face all night. And especially like just going back and watching the film and really looking at what they did, I was just like, okay, so the Cowboys are really working with something now. So early in the season, obviously everybody was complaining that the defense felt too plain. It was too safe. They weren't blitzing enough. Everything was very vanilla. And it made it really easy for teams to figure them out. But then they started cooking, right? First came the 5 down fronts. We've been talking about the 5 down fronts for a few weeks. And Cowboys fans were like, oh, okay, so they're trying new things, started to see a little bit more success. But they did not stop there. So this coaching staff just kept evolving, like they were dropping a new DLC every week. So against Mahomes and the Chiefs, we saw 6-man looks. We saw 6-man fronts. We saw linebackers mugging the A-gaps. We saw at least one instance of a linebacker mugging from the zero tech position. We saw, we saw some late rotations that really seemed to mess with Mahomes' pre-snap reads. What else? We saw them passing off routes. We saw pattern-matched trips alignments. So we even saw some coverage sacks, which meant the secondary was doing their job. And so, I think that was one of my favorite things, actually, because when you start seeing stuff like that, where the sacks are happening because Mahomes literally had no options, that means that the rush did their job, but also the back end did their job. And so when the secondary starts to step up like that and the whole thing starts looking like coordinated chaos, oh my God, I was eating it up. So this definitely is not the old Cowboys defense. This was creativity, this was adaptation, and my personal favorite, this was mischief. Like they were just causing chaos on the line. Like I'm so here for it. I'm low key obsessed. I love it. And so from there, I want to talk about the defensive line specifically because they were applying pressure like they were trying to get cuffed by Christmas. So the difference in this game, it really felt like they were making sure that if Mahomes wanted to do his thing, and you can kind of hear them talk about this, like if you watch sounds from the sideline, um, they wanted him to pay for the Mahomes magic that he tries to use so much. So Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 35% of his dropbacks, which was the second highest pressure rate he's faced all season. He was still 7 of 10 under pressure for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's built for chaos, so that's predictable. But he also took 3 sacks. And every time he tried to like spin his way into a highlight, there was somebody in his face. So even if they didn't get a sack on him, they were still pressuring him. They still made him nervous. They still were speeding up his clock. You could see it. Like if you watch the film, you can see it. And so this win, you know, I know like with the Eagles, people kind of talked about how the Eagles offense have been struggling all season, yada, yada, yada. But this win against the Chiefs, that did not happen because the Chiefs didn't show up. That did not happen because Mahomes was off of his game. This happened because Dallas showed up harder, right? So no, the pass rush did not completely shut down Mahomes. Like the Cowboys only won by 3 points, but they absolutely kept him from taking over the game. And sometimes that's all you need. Just don't let him take over the game, or whoever's on the opposing offense. Don't let them take over the game. Give your offense a chance to get the points. And so the pressure that they brought to the table, that was enough to get it done. So swipe right for them. And that brings us to the last swipe right that I have, which I don't have a ton of stats for, but this was mainly from me watching the film. Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon, we can run it for the cardio Clowney. Oh my God, this man is all over the place. And so if you've been listening to the press conferences, this is why Quinyon Williams mentioned him by name. This is why Brian Schottenheimer mentioned him by name twice. This is why everybody's asking about him. Because he was determined to ruin Mahomes' night. He only played 29 snaps, but he made every single snap that he was out there feel heavy. So he finished with 5 tackles, an assist, and 2 sacks. But honestly, the box score does not do justice to how chaotic he was making life for Patrick Mahomes. He was in this man's lap in the entire game, speeding up his clock, flushing him out, forcing off-platform throws. There was maybe 1 or 2 snaps where Jadeveon Clowney was not a problem, and he was on the field. And his hustle, oh my God. So he was chasing stuff down from the backside all night. So if you ever hear me say something like, we know Clowney likes it from the back, this is what I'm referring to. Backside pursuit all night. There were plays that went away from him and he was still running them down just to make a play, finding the right angles, looping behind the formation and running down dudes who running down the ball carriers. Oh my God. And even when the run, there were a couple of runs that went up the middle, and he still went all the way around the formation from the backside and made the tackle from behind. So we're talking high motor, we're talking disciplined pursuit, we're talking about him making it look easy the whole night as well. Well, no, sometimes, especially when he was chasing Mahomes down, it did not look easy, but he was killing it though. So he definitely gets a swipe right for that. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else about him that I didn't mention. Nothing right now. We're going to get into the specifics as we listen to some of the sound bites that I have for you guys from the coaches' press conferences. But yeah, like this team looked really, really good on Thursday. It wasn't like, I think going into this game, there were a lot of people who hoped that the Chiefs would make a mistake. And I'm not saying that they did everything perfect, but it wasn't like huge mistakes to where they blew the game. Like the Cowboys also made some mistakes. There was like this one huge play that I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes only got away with because Charqueezy Bridges literally slipped and fell in the coverage. And that left a guy wide open who like ran for a ton of yak after that. So I say that to say mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. Mistakes happen for both teams. But the Cowboys, they did their thing. So So there are a couple of other things that I'm going to bring up, especially about stuff that I saw on the defensive side, because I've watched more film from them so far. But like I said, we'll talk about it as we listen to these sound bites after I take a look and see what y'all are talking about in the chat, because it looks like a few of y'all have shown up. What up, Clement? What up, JV? Already said hi to Royal. Looks like there might be a few other people in here. Hey, everybody. Let's see. Clement says Williams and Malik Davis. Yes, Malik Davis is crushing it. And so here's the thing that I'm going to talk about with Malik Davis again, because a lot of people are asking this question about the running back signing that happened today and the fact that Blue was benched again. So I will reiterate again. Malik Davis is an excellent complement to Javonte Williams specifically. He seems to really allow the offense to not have to make too many adjustments when they go from one running back to another, which is what you want, right? He's figured out how to run hard. He's figured out how to make his presence known. And I think the reason why he was waived previously was because he wasn't necessarily doing that. And now something has clicked. I don't know what exactly it is, but he does look like a different running back now that he's back with the team and he's been given these opportunities. And it's something that they actually asked Clayton Adams about in his press conference. I don't know if I wrote down the timestamp, so I don't know if I'll pull up the soundbite, but they did ask Clayton Adams about that touchdown by Malik Davis that happened during the game. And even Clayton Adams said that they didn't necessarily plan for that to become a touchdown. That was something, it was a play that they had tried earlier in the season. And then they decided to pull it back out, and just the blocking worked out, and Malik Davis did his part and did way more with it than they anticipated. So that wasn't like, oh, they were working their way down the field and, oh, let's give it to Malik to run it in. That was, we're going to give it to Malik. Oh, shit, he ran it in. So he's really doing his thing. Still not getting a lot of carries. Not getting a ton of carries, but when he does get the carries, he's making an impact. And I feel like that gives not only him and everybody else confidence, but just, when it comes to having to make those changes, it's like they know if he does have to take more carries, that's something that they can depend on him to do. Whatever they need to implement, they know he can handle it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, huge shout out to Malik Davis. Royal said, when I saw Malik Davis squeeze all the way to run, man, I was surprised and shocked. Apparently, a lot of people were. JV says, do you believe that the Israel Abandaconda signing is more to replace Hunter Lipke or Luke Schoonmaker? I'm going to be honest, I haven't even looked that deep into it. Mainly because this guy, he hasn't put a lot on film to like where I even understand what the Cowboys expect from him. He was, I don't remember what round of the draft, but it wasn't like first or anything. He's been passed around from like among a bunch of different teams. I want to say like 3 different teams. A couple of them, he didn't even get any playing time, So I'm really like, okay, what does this guy bring to the table? What are they looking for? So I heard about the signing, but it's not something that I've really looked into today. And from what I have heard about this guy, it really just, until I see something else, it really just feels like another body. I don't know why they did it. Because, like I said, he hasn't done anything that seems spectacular or amazing thus far. So I think if they are expecting something significant from him, because like Schoon and Lipke, they get playing time, they get snaps, they make an impact on the offense. So if you're trying to replace one of them, you need to replace them with somebody who has the ability to do that. And I haven't read anything about this guy that tells me like, oh yes, he definitely has that ability. I'm still like, all right, I see your name. I see you've been on a few teams, but who the fuck are you? What are you bringing to this team? So I can't really answer that, JV. It sounds like maybe you've heard a theory that I have not picked up on yet. I know you support a few different content creators, so that might be why I have not had a chance to watch anybody else's